Hi everybody, it's Mary Ellen Stites from Create With Me, and I'm here in the nest today, and I love Teach Me Tuesday. This has been really fun. So thanks for joining me today, and I'm super excited about what I have to teach you today. Now, don't laugh at me because it's about re-inking your ink pads, and you're gonna be like, Boresville, boring at me, but I'm telling you, this is really exciting stuff. So let me backtrack a little bit and get that off of my face here. Let's see if I can move that. Okay. So I'm also excited about today, just today in general. So today is Tuesday, November 24th, in case you're watching it later. We have a 1-day sale today, and it's 10% off almost everything in the annual catalog. Not everything, there's a few excluded items, and I have those all posted on my Create With Me Facebook page, so you can see them there. But everything else is 10% off, and it's on the annual catalog item, so it's super exciting. But it's today only. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about teaching people how to re-ink their pads. So it sounds really funny. Wait, I'm just gonna be transparent. I got something in my tooth. So it sounds funny, but I have people ask me all the time about re-inking their pads and why do I do it and when do I do it and how do I do it. So we have a lot of pads. So I'm going to go ahead and switch you here to my table and show you just the variety of pads we have and the different styles and the re-inker. So here, let's get started with our basic classic stamping pad. So this is our basic pad right here. This one is Daffodil Delight, and you can purchase a Stampin' Up ink, the Stampin' ink to go into the pad, okay? And before I get too far along, I want to show you in the catalog where that is. So on page 142, if you go to page 142 and 143, it's got all of our color collections, and the ink refills are right there along with the color of ink, okay? And I usually recommend that when you buy a new ink pad, go ahead and buy the refill at the same time. I mean, it's the best $3.75 that you've ever purchased. Really, seriously. And then if you go 2 pages over, you'll see we have a Versamark pad, and we talked about that last week. And then we have Stays On, which is, I'll talk about that in just a second. And we have Memento ink. I think I froze a little bit, but hopefully we'll catch up. Memento ink, and then we have a uninked pad that is Whisper White that comes with a refill right here. And then we have some uninked pads. So we're gonna talk about that. I know I froze just a little bit, but just bear with me. I'm gonna keep going. It's probably my internet. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way. What kind of tools are you gonna need when you ink your pad? I recommend either, if you're doing a classic pad, either having a plastic spoon or something that we all have on our desk is this clear block, okay? So I recommend that you have one of those, and then a roll of paper towels. It never hurts to have paper towels. So let's just get started. You know that our ink pads open up like a compact. So they're just gonna open up like your favorite compact, and then they're gonna slide back just like this and click into place. Now, the very first thing that you must do, this is super important, make sure that you look and see, this is a daffodil pad, this is a daffodil re-inker, because the last thing you want to do is re-ink your daffodil pad with another yellow, such as Mango Melody or So Saffron. So double check and make sure that you have the right ink with the right pad. When you're doing our new firm foam pads, I just add ink. I really cover the pad. This one is Dyer for a drink. And I go ahead and really, people say, well, how much do I use? That kind of depends on how dry your pad is. So I run it across there quite a bit, and you'll see that the ink kind of sits on top. This is where my spoon or my block's gonna come in handy. So I usually take a block and I just run the block, and I see how it's pushing the ink into the pad. This is really important. We want to get the pad fully saturated. We don't want the ink just sitting on top. I know we want ink on top, but we don't want it just sitting on top. Now, I feel comfortable with this. Now, I could ink it more, but I feel like I keep mine pretty ink. So I'm gonna just clean off, this is where the paper towel comes in handy, clean off my block. I can also take it to the sink and wash it off. And then if I use the spoon, I would do the same thing, just rubbing it in with the spoon. So it's super easy to ink one of our classic pads, and that's how you would do it. That's called a firm foam pad. Now we've got the Versamark pad, and I did show this a little bit on the last Tuesday Live. I believe it was Tuesday Live. I don't think it was Friday. And this is a Versamark ink, and Versamark, if you're not familiar, is a watermark stamp pad. It's a sticky ink that it doesn't dry so fast. So it's great for embossing, and it's great for just a tone on tone look. So on this one, the ink it's really thick. So what I do is I just drop little droplets on there. This is a foam pad too, but it's not a firm foam pad. This is a soft foam pad. Once I get that done, I could use my spoon, but I just use the tip. This one doesn't, I'll say, is a little more sturdy, so I can just use the tip to work that in. And then I might add some more Versamark all over it and rub it in with the tip of the re-inker, or the ink refill. Okay, so that is a Versamark pad. Then let's move on to the Memento ink, okay? Memento ink this is Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and this is used for, it's a nice black, but it's also used when we're using the alcohol markers, the blends, because let me just give this as an extra tip. Sometimes you get confused between the StazOn and the Memento. StazOn is alcohol based. So when you're using an alcohol marker, you do not want to use it with StazOn, because alcohol rehydrates alcohol and you get mud, okay? Memento is water-based. So if you use Memento ink and you use something wet, like an aqua paint or a blender pen, water and water, soluble, then you make mud. So you want to always remember the opposite, right? The opposite. So water-based with alcohol marker, alcohol-based with water. So if I'm going to do watercoloring, I'm going to use StazOn. If I'm going to use blends, which is alcohol-based, I'm going to use Memento. So we use Memento when we are using blends, but we also can use it when we're using black all alone. This is a really nice black. It gives you a really clear, clean image. So I always recommend the Memento ink. That would be my very first black that I would recommend. So how do we ink this one? This one is one of the old style felt pads. So it's going to be the same thing. We're going to go ahead and see. You can usually tell if your pad is dry, that ink is just going to start running right into it. So I'm really adding a lot. Now I'm noticing that it's slowing down. Okay, it's slowing down. So I'm going to slow down. With the felt pads, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me. With the felt pads, I do not need to use the clear block. Now, if you came in late, go back and watch why I use the clear block. But with the felt pads, they will kind of absorb. The ink will kind of come through and absorb. And so I can just ink it, and then I just recommend that you let it sit for a little while before you're using it, okay? StazOn is the same style pad. So again, make sure StazOn, always double check. And this one is, look, I had a feeling, this is a really old pad, and I had a feeling that it's not because this pad is so saturated, but this pad is so old that it's going to take a little while for this ink to go into it. And it's just going to sit there for a little while, because this pad kind of has a film on it. I do not get rid of any pads. So this pad could be 17 years old, and I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't. One thing, and then I'll just let it sit and it will absorb, okay? One thing I want to tell you about StazOn, because it's alcohol based, it does evaporate into the air quickly. So they've come up with this little, when you get it, you might throw it away and you might think that you don't need it. But there's a little plastic piece that covers the pad. Keep that, don't throw it away. And if you don't want to have to do two things to take it off, I just put, you'll notice in the lid here, I put 2 dimensionals, and then I put that in there, and then it's just one, it's always on there, but it's giving it a little tighter seal. So that way, you're not getting so much evaporation. So that's just an extra little tip there. So that's our StazOn and our Memento. Now let's go to the craft ink. This is Whisper White, and this comes uninked, and it comes with the inker, so you have to ink it yourself. This is what I would say is an old style pad, the ones where when you have 3 dots, you push it with your thumb and then flip it over. But this is a foam pad. It's not a felt pad, so it does have foam on it. And this one, it has been inked before, but you're just gonna get the ink down. And this one's, I don't know if this is gonna come out or not. It's a little thick. I've got another re-inker, but hold on, I'm gonna try to shake that down. Try to use this one. Sorry for making all the noise. Oh, there, it's coming out. So see how gloppy it is? I almost just run it over like this. It's super stringy and gloppy. So we're gonna have to do like we do with the Versamark and work it into the pad. So I like my pads juicy. I just do not like to have it where it's so light that we don't even know what color it is. I like it to be good and juicy. And then I work this one in with the tip, or this would be another one that you could work in with the plastic spoon. So you're just gonna take a plastic spoon, work it into the pad, make sure it's good and inked up. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then take your paper towel and wash that spoon off, and you can just stick it in your tool. I just keep it in my tool bin right there on my desk, so I always have it handy. There's one more that I want to show you that's in the catalog, and it's on page 147, and that's our uninked Stampin' Spots. And you might not be familiar with those, but these are in the catalog. This would be a great thing to use with your 10% off today. Get these uninked stamped spots. They are uninked stamped spots are $9, and you get 5 of them. Okay, and this might be one that you're like, okay, I have no idea how much ink to put on it. So I've got Misty Moonlight. So let's say I need an extra Misty Moonlight for a class or something. And I'm going to really, this is, these pads are felt pads, okay? So these are felt pads. And I want to do more than just cover the top. So I've covered the top. Okay, so that could be okay, but I want to see ink. Can you see on the side? I want to see ink coming down into that. All right, so I'm going to keep inking. I'm going to turn it and ink. See, it's going to keep absorbing into my pad. I want this good and juicy. I don't need it so it's running out on my fingers, definitely not, but I'm going to show you the difference. So it does take a little bit of ink. But these spots are perfect for when you're using your Stamparatus. They're great for your Stamparatus because then you don't have the big, you have more control over it. You don't have those big inky spots all over. So we're gonna let that soak in just a little bit. I could probably add more ink to it, but let me show you what's happening here. So see how it's, there, I think there. You can see how it's just starting to kind of absorb down. I'm gonna keep adding it until that pad is all, well, it looks black, but it's blue. So until it's all blue, okay? Then you might look at that and go, okay, now how do I know what color that is? So here's another little trick. I take a piece of the cardstock, coordinating cardstock. This is Misty Moonlight. I punch out 2 little circles, or you could cut little squares. It doesn't matter. You could put a little label. And then I take some glue and I just put one, whoops, fingers are too big. I put one right on the top, so I know that that's Misty Moonlight, And I put one on the bottom because that way, when the top is separated from the bottom, I know that these two go together. So that's one way of doing it. I've got it here and here. And that way I know that that's a Misty Moonlight pad and I'm all ready to go. So let me just take you back to my face here for just a second before I close out. Today, like I said, today only until 11:50 Mountain Time, which is 12:50 our time. There is a 10% off sale out of everything in the annual catalog with a few exceptions. There's a few exceptions and I have that on my Facebook page. Those exceptions are on there. And if you have questions, you can always message me. But if you use the host code that I have listed there, you can just take a screenshot of it. It's you can go to createwithme.stampinup.net. That's my store. And the host code is NRV as in Victor, B as in boy, V as in Victor, P as in Paul, T as in Tom, and B as in boy. Then I would appreciate it if you use that when you are checking out in my store. So does anyone, I can see a few highs. Hi, everybody. Does anyone have any questions about re-inking your stamp pads? So next time when you purchase, you can get them for 10% off today. So go on and get all those colors that you don't have in your repertoire. Today's the day to get them, and add a re-inker or an ink, just stamp an ink to you. I always call it a re-inker. That's kind of a running joke in our club. We call them rinkers. So get you a rinker and a stamp pad, buy them together, save 10%. Go to createwithme.stampinup.net, use that host code, and I will see you all next Tuesday for Teach Me Tuesday. Let's see if we can get that up there. There you go. Join me next Tuesday at 2 o'clock for Teach Me Tuesday, and I will see you all later. Have a great week, and happy Thanksgiving. I didn't say that. I wore my shirt to tell you that I am thankful. I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for this business Stampin' Up, and that it helps us all stay creative. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody here in North America, and I will see you next Tuesday.